All right, I'm talking with Anthony Taylor, who looks like you've been putting in the some work today. Obviously, you're reacting off of the news that Artem Lobov is a free agent, and he had hinted at being contacted by Bellator. So, what's up, Anthony? What lit the fire under you?
Man, I've been trying to call for Artem for about almost 3 years so far. You know, he's never expressed interest in me, but he definitely knows who I am. I made a couple of trips to Ireland, made noise, especially in his gym. And I just feel like he thinks he's a shit. Like people call him the goat, and I refer to everybody. The only goat he is the second on goat milk, and I wanted to be the first one to let him know, like, hey, welcome to Bellator. Sit yourself down.
Hmm. So, I know but didn't you have some beef? I know you fought one of his teammates in the past too. So, is there beef that stems from that?
Oh, absolutely. I have my whole beef with SBG, period. It doesn't matter if it's Connor, Kiefer Crosby, Dylan or Connor. It doesn't matter. My goal is to make an example out of Arthur, to let James Gallagher know, like, hey, I want my rematch. You only fought me when I was only 2 fights into my pro career. I'm a whole different fighter now. My ground game is exceptional, and my striking is world class. My trash talking, world champion level. I want to make that example of Arthur to let Gallagher know, like, hey, I want my rematch, and let's make it happen again.
So, since you heard the news, and I know this, I'm not the first person that interviewed you today. Did you have you gotten any responses or anyone from Bellator reach out about
Well,
making something happen?
I've talked to my coach. My coach was like, hey, push it. Let's keep promoting it. Eventually, people's going to catch on, and it's going to be a very high demand matchup. I talked to a couple of matchmakers in Bellator. I'm not going to say no names or anything, but I've talked to some matchmakers, and they're like, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. You never know, it can happen." So I'm here to push a button and let them know, like, "Hey, you want to come to Bellator? You want to fight the elite? Here, fight a Bellator veteran first before you consider yourself calling you before you consider fighting the elites, because you're nowhere near the elites. So I want to be that guy that welcome Arthur. I've been calling him out for years, man, and I feel like I deserve the shot. I honestly do. I ain't got nothing to lose. He's 13-15. I'm 4-5. What is there to lose? Honestly,
Yeah.
besides prosper from this.
So, you mentioned you spoke to your coach. You train, don't your coach, don't you like train with Aaron Pico and McKee and all those guys too?
Yes, I do. I train with them. Those are my brothers. We were gladiators. We train together. Um, those I will definitely have their back no matter what. Win, lose, or draw. Body shot till we fall. Uh, these guys, AJ and Pico, Baby Slice, Joey Davis, Brandon Halsey. Man, those guys are beasts. Man, they put in the work. I give them credit because they helped me grow as a fighter
Hmm.
mentally, physically, and emotionally, and as a person. Antonio being a father figure to me, definitely, stepping in when I didn't have a father growing up. Antonio took me under his wing when I had nowhere to go, when I was one point homeless at one point in life, and he took me into his home, and ever since then I've been there, training under and McKee Tunage, and learning and getting better, honing my skills with Pico and AJ.
So your last fight was in with Bama. I know Bellator likes working with Bama a lot too. They do the co-promote shows when they go on that side of the globe. Um, is it would you fight him under the Bama banner, or does it matter? Do you just want to fight, or do you want it to be in Bellator?
Uh, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the Bama situation. From when I was told they went under,
Mm.
I don't know. It's from what I was told. Um, um, I would love to fight for Bellator under the Bellator banner because worldwide, people see it and numbers. Everybody knows who I am. I'm the most flamboyant character around in MMA. There's no rated R superstar without the pretty boy. And I feel like me and him have a big enough name. We have both have a big enough name in Ireland. Everybody knows the Russian Hammer just as much they know about the Pretty Boy in Ireland. I have a big following base up in America too. He also does. And I feel like being on a big stage like Bellator or the UFC, I think that's where people perform the best because you get
Hmm.
to see who they really are as a person.
So you said you've been calling him out for like 3 years, but I mean, obviously he was signed with the UFC way back then. Did you think he was going to get released, or what made you what put the crosshairs on him?
I mean, ever since Connor has been put in his place, he's been put in his place. The only reason why he's in the UFC is because of Conor McGregor.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And the only reason why Dillis is in the Bellator because of Conor McGregor. You know, the they're overrated. They they have no world class striking. You know, I mean, Conor most of the time trains in freaking LA.
mm,
He trains out here most of the time. James Gallagher doesn't even train with Connor. If you look at his Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, you don't see no pictures of him with Connor. It's just being a fanboy, and that's supposed to be your teammate. You know, I have the best. I have the best team right now in Bellator in the world. And I've let it known, before I was an amateur. I've been trying to call him out as an amateur, trying
mm,
to make my debut, but you know, if unfortunate events led me to, gracefully led me to Bellator. He was
yeah.
able to go to the UFC, and we kind of like backed off on it because I wasn't allowed under my contract to go about what I say. So, well, hey, here it is now. He's a free agent. I'm still with Bellator. Let's make it happen.
So the I mean, you mentioned the fight with Gallagher. Was there anything that jumped off between you and him back when you were fighting back then? Because I know it's not on. I mean, obviously, based on history, it's not unlike Artem to get into something with somebody he's actually not fighting. If you look at the history with the stuff that happened in Brooklyn with Khabib and stuff like that. So, like when you were building up towards your fight with Gallagher, was there something that happened back then that made you start calling him out?
Sure. Well, I got into it because the fact that he was calling himself a legend and calling out my teammates, as in, at the time, Bubba Jenkins,
Yeah,
AJ McKee, just trash talking, mad talking us down, and it affected me because like, yo, these my teammates. You don't know who are you? You some Irish kid talking smack, riding the coattails of Conor McGregor. Without Conor McGregor, you wouldn't be here.
yeah.
And I took an offense of that. So I spoke up and hey, I got to fight with him. Then you got Arthur who thinks he's a hot shot and people make fun of him, laughing at him instead of laughing with him by calling him a goat. It, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, and I want to be that person to put him down in his place. I've talked to a lot of high up people to see to
Yeah.
make this happen.
So while you're waiting for a response or to see where it goes, I mean, what do you have lined up in the meantime? I mean, obviously you're a young fighter. You got to stay active. Is there anything you got lined up while you wait to hear from whomever you need to hear from to make the fight happen?
Well, right now, I have a potential fight with Cage Legacy. No contracts has been signed, but you never know what can happen. You never know. I can pull out, get injured. He can pull out, get injured. You
Mm,
just never know what can happen in the sport. Who knows? Hey, get a two-fight contract with the UFC. You just never know what can happen. Hey, I can get released by Bellator and the UFC pick up my contract today. I'm here fighting a top 15 guy tomorrow. You just never know. So I don't really blab out the mouth of what's going to happen
mm.
until I'm signed on that dotted line and this is what's going to happen. I can promote all I want, but until things contract is being said, nothing is guaranteed in life.
Where do you see your strengths as far as a matchup against someone like Lobov?
Striking, a lot more powerful than him. Um, physically stronger, mentally stronger. Wrestling, I'll class him anytime. I don't really use my wrestling. I didn't use my wrestling with Gallagher. Um, but my strength, cardio, wrestling, I call it power. I call it power wrestling.
Hmm.
Um, those right there. If he wants to brawl, we can brawl. We can sit in the cage. We can just brawl. You know, um, I'm physically bigger than him, mentally stronger, and every aspect better than Arthur.
Did you were you with the same team now when you fought back when you fought Gallagher? Was it always the same training squad?
Always the same training spot. I haven't left. I've gotten a lot better than before. When I was on a losing streak, I never took my career serious. I was too busy traveling the world being Casanova at the time when I was losing my fights. But now I got focused. My coach sat me down, wrote a game plan. Like, yo, here's what you can do to be a superstar to gain your notoriety to where you want to be. And I'm on a 2-fight winning streak. I fought an undefeated SBG fighter up in Ireland, me in
Hmm.
England, whooped his ass. I fought a top contender fighter, a world class karate champion, Dean Barry, in Ireland, whooped his ass. you know, and I did this fight on 3 weeks notices. 3 weeks notices. I've gotten about almost a year worth of training camp going in.
Hmm.
How much better do you think a person's gonna be without fighting with them almost a year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a young man, so I could only, the sky's the limit when you're training. I noticed I'm looking at your sweater with the jujitsu stuff on it. Uh, how's your ground game?
Oh, my ground game is good. In jiu-jitsu, I represent Darcy Lira,
Hmm.
up in Hayward in Brazil, in the Bay Area. I also represent Jason Manley, Gracie fighter. Um, my jiu-jitsu skills is great. I take first place, took gold in Naga, took gold in World League. Um, take first place in every tournament I have taken. I have no complaints. I've never been taken down. Only person who's taken me down once off, but I popped right popped right back up was
Hmm.
Gallagher. He was the only person who took me down off a quick takedown out of say about 9 professional fights. Other than that, I've never been taken down.
Would you entertain? Because when he first announced his free agency, he was talking about doing boxing and other things outside of MMA. Would you entertain like a submission only grappling type of thing in a fight to win pro or EBI or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're dealing now when you're dealing with that, it's a whole level to that. But absolutely, I'd be interested in doing that. You know, I, me being a white belt, sometimes I give brown belts, black belts problems. I've only been doing jujitsu for about like 3 months, and I'm taking first place in a lot of things. Due to my wrestling with AJ and Aaron
Yeah,
and Antonio McKee, you know, with that has definitely made my jiu-jitsu life a lot easier. And my ground game is 10 times better. If you see the fight with me and Mike Hells, you can see how much I improved. I like to strike and bang, but I also like to ground and pound.
cool. So, well, I mean, I hope you get a response or all the. I have to commend you for the reaching out that you did as far as like I mean I know you reached out to me and a few people to try to get some to try to at least get Lobov and whoever else's attention you need to get. So, thanks for reaching out. But I hope you get what you want. So, do you have any sponsors or anything you want to plug before we say goodbye?
RDX Sports Fight Gear, Line Egg Whites. Let's see. Smile. Who else I have? TC1 Speedwear. Um, that's it so far that I know of. Oh, Egg Weights. Can't forget Egg Weights. Those are my sponsors. This thing happened. Oh, Body Shop, and Metroflex.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you again, Anthony. I hope you again. If you do get word or you want to break that news when you do get word, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to get the word out for you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.